Good morning and welcome. Today we're going to take a look at creating the design for our iPad amplifier cover and preparing to cut it onto the CNC mill. To start, we have Inventor open, and I'm going to select New from the ribbon bar at the top, Standard IPT, and click Create. I'm going to select 2D Sketch pencil piece of paper from on the upper left hand corner, and I'm going to place it on my XY plane. I'm going to click Front to zoom all in my world cube. And I'm going to start with my rectangle. Select your rectangle tool from the toolbar at the top, and we're going to begin at our origin. Make sure you're moving your cursor until you get a green dot. Click and stretch your rectangle to the upper right hand quadrant. The width of my iPad amplifier is 3.5. Type that into the keyboard. Press the Tab key. The next box we're going to type in 8.0. The height of your amplifier is 8 inches. And press Enter on the keyboard. Click Front to zoom all. And there we have our first rectangle. Press the Escape key. And we're going to green check mark, Finish Sketch, and click Home. Next we're going to take an extrude to give our part depth. So I want to select Extrude from the ribbon bar at the top. Direction number 2 I want to select. And the depth of my extrusion is 1.875, and click OK. Next we want to place a sketch on the front of my block, my part, in order to draw the slot that my iPad's going to fit in. I want to take a 2D sketch, place this on my front view, and I'm going to click Front in my world cube to zoom all. Next, to start my sketch, I want to begin with a rectangle. I want to come down to the top of my part. When that top line highlights of my part, I want to click and begin my rectangle. The box that's highlighted in blue is where I'm going to type the width of my iPad and case. So with my iPad open, the cover open, I'm going to take and measure the width of my iPad so that it can fit in the slot. If you need help with this, ask your teacher. When I measured mine is 0.75 for a width. So I'm going to type that into the box. Press the Tab key. The height of this rectangle for everybody is 8.0. And press Enter on the keyboard. Press the Escape key. Next I need to locate this slot to center it on my part. So I'm going to get my dimension tool. I want to select the right hand side of my part and the right hand side of the rectangle I just drew, and pull this dimension up. This dimension here is 1.63, and click the green check mark. Once I have that finished, I'm going to take and create a rectangle here for my finger to access the home button on my iPad when it's inserted into the holder. In order to do that, I'm going to select my rectangle tool again, and I want to come to the right hand side of that rectangle we just drew. When it snaps onto the line, click and stretch out a rectangle. The first measurement you're going to type in is 0.375, which is 3/8 of an inch. Press the Tab key. And the second dimension we're going to type in is 0.75, 3/4 of an inch. And then press Enter. Press the Escape key. Next we need to dimension a location for this rectangle that we just did. So we're going to take in dimension. I want to dimension from the top of my part to the top of the rectangle that we just drew, and bring this dimension out. This dimension here is 3.625, 3 5/8 of an inch, or 3.625, green check mark. That looks good. Next we want to take and trim this area out so we can extrude it. So I want to take and trim. I want to select this slot area that's in here. Now when I click that a second time, I get this little error menu or alert menu that comes up. It's not going to let us trim because it has a dimension on it. So click Cancel. In order to fix that problem, I'm going to press the Escape key to let go of the tools I'm holding onto. This 0.375 dimension that's here, I'm going to right click and delete. This 0.75 dimension that's here, I'm going to right click and delete. Now we should be able to trim that. Let's give it a try. Trim, and click that slot in there. Excellent. Now I have that line trimmed out. I'm going to come up here and I want to put my fillets in. So I'm going to go to my fillet tool in the ribbon bar. The 0.125 is what we're going to enter in. If this does not say 0.125, you're going to highlight and change that to 0.125. And now I want to select my two lines. I want to click this line and this line here to enter in my fillet, and this line to enter in my fillet. When you're finished, close out your fillet menu, and we round it over those corners. Those look good. Now we're going to go to the green check mark in the upper right hand corner, Finish Sketch, and we're going to select our Extrude tool from the ribbon bar. If your part does not automatically extrude out, we're going to take and move your cursor over the top of that rectangle slot that we just drew to select it. We want to have this to be cut, so I want my second button down right here from my Extrude menu. Make sure I'm going direction 2, and I also want to change my dimension to 0.5. So I have three things selected here: cut, direction 2, and 0.5. When you have that done, select OK. Once I have that finished, I'm going to go up to the orange capital letter I in the upper right hand corner. I'm going to save as. The name of my part, I'm going to type in my last name. So I'm going to type in my last name and then iPad Amplifier cover, and select Save. Next, we're going to take a look at running our toolpaths. So above our ribbon, there are these tabs up here at the top. Come across till you find the CAM, Computer Aided Machining, CAM tab. Up here in our ribbon changes. So the first thing that I want to do is click Setup. From the ribbon bar, Setup. You can see a couple of things here. My origin's not in the right spot, and my bounding box is a little bit too big, so we're going to fix that here. These tabs that show up on the left hand side, we work the tabs from left to right and top to bottom. So in this first tab here, I want to change my origin right here where it says stock box point to model origin, and that's going to move my cursor to the lower left hand corner. Next, we're going to go to our second tab, which is our stock setup. In this menu, the only thing we want to change here is the 2-inch dimension. I want to change that to 1.875, and that brings my bounding box closer. Next, I want to go to my Post Processor tab. Here for the program name and number, I'm going to take and highlight that, and I'm going to put my last name and iPad Amplifier cover, and then click OK. Once we have that completed, we're going to come up to the 2D milling area in our ribbon bar, and I want to select 2D pocket. Once again, I'm going to get these tabs on the left hand side menu, and the first one that I want to do is I want to select my tool. When our tool menu opens up, I want to scroll down here just a little bit until I find Sample Tools Inch and select that. There's a whole bunch of tools on the right hand side here. I want to scroll down till I find my 1/4 inch flats. So there's 9 1/4 inch flat end mills. I want to select the bottom one, the last one out of the 1/4 inch flat, and then click the select button. Now we have our tool selected. I'm moving across to my next tab, which is selecting my geometry. For selecting my geometry, I want the bottom area of that slot that we drew for our iPad to fit in, and click to select it. Once it turns blue, that means you've done a good job at doing that. Next, we're going to come across to our Heights tab. In our Heights tab, we want to open up the clearance height, and I want to change to stock top, and offset, I want to have that 0.2. Going to my retract height area, I want stock top and 0.2. Feed height, I want to change to stock top and 0.2. Once you have these top three selected at stock top and 0.2, we're going to move across to our Heights tab, or our multiple passes tab. In here I want to check multiple depth, and I want to highlight maximum roughing step down. I want to change that to 0.25 1/4 inch. And the last thing I want to do in this tab is I want to select stock to leave. I want to uncheck it because I don't want any stock left over when I'm done. Once I have those two taken care of here, I'm going to go back to my tabs at the top and select linking parameters. And in this menu I want to uncheck lead in, uncheck lead out, and I want to take my ramp style and change it from helix, and I want to go to plunge. Once we have those completed, I'm going to click OK at the bottom. And you're going to see the lines that represent our tool paths. That means you have generated your tool paths. Next, we're going to click Simulate in the left-hand side of the ribbon bar. And here I'm going to click Play. And that tool bit is going to travel the way that we programmed it here. Once it's done playing through, you're going to click Close at the bottom. And now what we need to do is go to our post-process. So click the post-process button from the ribbon bar. And a couple things here that we're going to have to take a look at. First of all, if this mill configuration, 1 Butler MS Techno ESO, does not show up, you're going to click the pull down menu here, and it should be right at the top to select it. The other thing is our output folder. I want to click this button here, and I want to make sure that I'm selecting my first initial last name 000, so it's saving to my H drive. Make sure that's selected, and then click Open. Your name should already be in here, the program name. If it's not, type your last name, iPad Amplifier cover, and then click Post. Click Save. Now, once our file editor comes up, I'm going to X this out in the upper right hand corner, and that brings us back. The last thing I want to do is go to the orange capital letter I, and I want to save. Okay, now that we have it saved, I'm going to minimize. I currently am sitting at the computer that is connected to the CNC mill. If you are not, you're going to log off and you're going to go over the computer that's attached to the CNC mill. And on the desktop, there's this button right here to launch our CNC milling software. So click CNC mill. I'm going to go to Translate Execute. I'm going to click this PC to open this window up, and I want to go find my H drive. In my H drive, I should see my iPad Amplifier cover right here. Click to select it and click Open. Click OK. Now you're going to take care of a few things before you call your teacher over. The first thing we're going to take care of and do is preview. You're going to click the F button on the keyboard, the T button on the keyboard, and F. And this is where you are going to stop. You're going to get up, you're going to get your teacher, have them come over to take a look at your computer screen. They're going to help you load the part into the CNC mill, and then they'll take you the rest of the way for cutting your part out. Congratulations, nice job. Next, you need to stop and go get your teacher.